Folks, welcome to the Esterlon map. I wanted to do this series where I showed it off from the developer's point of view. I'm not one of the main developers, but I did do a lot of the concept planning and just a lot of the road details and all that. And this specific spot is a city called Wasper on the southern edge of the map so far. My name is Raul. Maybe you've seen me around as one of the developers for the Reforma team. I don't really do too much nowadays, but I do like to get involved every so often, and road details are my specialty, so that's a lot of what I did. So starting off right here, we're going to be taking a cargo and talking a little bit about the map. First of all, just showing off a little bit of the Wasper area. This is a viewpoint you can look at. There's actually our truck right now. We'll get started right now where we're supposed to. Alright folks, we're going to be testing out something a little bit different. Something I've never done. I've always wondered how to record, and I like being able to show off everything outside, so I'm not really going to show off, well, maybe I should, the interior of the truck, the exterior of the truck at least. This is what we're using. This is the Freightliner. Is it the K100 or am I confusing it for something else? I don't know, but I really like these flat front, cab over, that's the right term, cab over trucks. I really like them in Euro Truck Sim, and here I really like them because they allow you quite some good visibility. Normally when I drive with this at about 64, like this, to be able to see the tachometer and all that kind of stuff. But for this video, I'm gonna try recording like this. See what happens. I'll talk a little bit more about my setup in a bit, but let's just get started. So, try to be a good driver when doing these kinds of videos. I'm not a fat, well, sorry, no, not when I'm doing these kind of videos. In general, I try to be good, although right here I am gonna probably get in trouble, but I want to get the video started. Nope, I was good. Okay, I just stopped this truck on my left. You have to wait a little bit. That's fine. But more so, I was gonna say, normally my playstyle, I try to be as legit as possible with my driving. I don't like going super fast. I used to. Now I find myself not doing it. Let's see. So Wasper to the left. Okay. Uh-oh. Let's go. Nope, I'm good. Alright. The bad thing about driving this way with is I have a head tracker. I think it's Track IR. So it tracks my head, and I use triple monitors. I've got a decent setup. I could do better with my wheel. I have a Logitech G29, is it called, I think? But hey, it's what I could do. And the monitors, I use them for like work and that kind of stuff as well. So, but that's why you'll see I might be moving my head a little bit. Normally, when I'm playing in the normal FOV, you would be able to see, let's see, we're going east, west, we're going east. I would be able to see the cars to my sides pretty easily, but right now, because of the FOV, it's going to be a little hard. But hey, it's fine, right? It is what it is. This view is cool because you could see all the road signs and all the details much better. It's almost as if we were on the outside of the truck. And maybe, you know what, maybe we should be... no, it's fine. I think it is. It's fine. So... one of the things that characterize Esterlon as a project... Well, maybe I should talk about it from the get-go. So Esterlon is a completely custom, fictional country. It's not meant to... follow any real place. As you might know, ATS is obviously based in the United States. ETS2 is obviously in Europe. And Esterlon is meant to be a completely fictional place, right? There are, obviously, it still looks sort of American. We've also tried to make it look as a little different or weird in some minuscule ways as possible. So one of the ways that you'll notice it is the urban design is a little bit different to what you normally see in the US. It is meant to be a bit more dense than your typical American city. A bit of a mix of what you might see a little bit in... Maybe it's more like, from what I could tell, it's maybe more like some, like what Australian and New Zealand cities are. They're, they kind of look American, but at the same time they've got details that make them different. I've noticed from scouring Google Maps and all that jazz, Chile is also kind of a pretty decent comparison, and it wasn't really on purpose, but it just kind of came out that way. The other big distinction is, of course, the road signs are a little bit different. And some of you who may have already played it, or if you're paying attention to the video and looking at the signs, if you are, or my gameplay, is that Esterlon uses metric. So we are not using miles or feet or anything like that. We are using meters and kilometers. And we wanted to do that, one, because unfortunately metric is the better system for the most part, just because the entire world uses it, and it's easier to think in tens than in whatever weird conversions the imperial system has. And this comes from someone who grew up in the United States, such as myself. I got to live in Mexico for 11 years, though, and that kind of opened my eyes to that whole thing. Let's move over to the other side. I've got a lot of traffic merging here. Overall, there are things that I do like in Imperial. So, for example, temperature. I like Fahrenheit, personally. I had a hard time getting used to Celsius. I understand it, but it's when it comes to daily temperature, talking about the weather or whatever, I still like Fahrenheit better. But everything else, meters, kilometers, all the way. So the whole map is in metric. The road signs are meant to be a bit of a mix of European style, a little bit, with more symbols and pictures. Pictograph is really what I wanted to say. But also, it's still clearly American. As a map designer, I did not want to have to create all new signage, I think is the right pronunciation, specifically for Esterlon. I wasn't sure if it was going to pick up, if it was going to be that popular. And the truth is, it's not as popular as the other Reforma stuff, all the maps that mesh with the base ATS map. Maybe if we would have seen a bit more support for it, more people being interested in it, then maybe we would have tried to put a little more effort on that regard. But at the same time, for the average player, there isn't so much you get out of making all the road signs custom, right? And even then, what would I do? Sure, I've got ideas, but at the end, it's not really that necessary. So what we did do to make it look different is we used the Mexican models for a lot of stuff. The speed limit signs, those are Mexican signs. If you ever played the Mexico maps, yeah, those speed limits are Mexican style signs, which I feel are a great mix between American looking, but also with that European red circle from the Vienna Convention back in the 40s, 50s, I don't know. I think it gives it a little something different, little flavor text, if you will. And anyone who has a keen eye to be looking at that, you'll get a little treat for it, I guess, right? The other thing is, a lot of the names, a lot of them were just invented out of nowhere, but also there is a lot of the places that that you're seeing around this map, if not most of them, are, if not copies, but at least inspired by places in real life. places in various countries, but of course mostly in the U.S. and Mexico, which is what we know the most. Okay, we gotta hold up. We gotta apply some engine brakes. This part is a little steep. Truckers use low gear. It might be a bit too much. Let's go back to 12. I don't have the fastest truck, but it's nice. So, for example, this area is actually based on a real place. It is near the city of Saltillo in northeastern Mexico. The landscape looks different. So, like, that place in real life is not as, it's not an alpine forest as it is here. But the road, the grade, the curves, even in some ways the shape of the geology around here, the geography, I mean, is pretty much akin to real life. It is exactly what it is. And many places that are named around here have the same, or if not translated names, from what they are in Mexico, at least. This specific place. There are other places that are based more in the United States. For example, there's a city that you'll see at some other point that is literally a copy of San Luis Obispo, California. But, well, copy at least the layout. But you'll see that later. That's me moving. There's a runaway truck ramp right there. We don't need it, though. We're good. I'm not really using my brakes, so that's nice. This part's going to be tends to be a lot of traffic around here. Signs up ahead are telling us 90 kilometer speed limit up ahead. That's about 55 miles, I think. 50 miles an hour. There it is. And this is all in that one spot in Mexico. This tunnel, I think, is called Los Chorros in Mexico, the real one. I think I just changed it to Joros with a J. Yeah, it's right there. You can see it on some of the signs. That little white sign I stole from Spain. It means check your headlights coming out of a tunnel. Let's hope there's no car to my left. I have the rear view mirrors, the UI ones on the top left and right. I have those because I can't be turning around too much while I'm recording. Normally I don't use them, but hey, it's alright. It's a bit tight. A lot of traffic. Admittedly, I do have the traffic set to with console controls. You can change it so that there's a bit more density. It's a little buggy sometimes, so don't be surprised if something looks weird or I have to reset something. But I just have it to the standard is traffic set to 1. 1 is the default value. I have it set to 2, so you could go overboard with it. But 2 is decently okay. Once you get into the inner cities, if you have a big wide freeway like you'll see later on in this trip, you can tell it's probably a little empty. Unfortunately, it's just how the game works. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, if you've played the Reforma maps, this section is already built in the Mexico map. It's, like I said, it's close to Saltillo. And Eblem built this first. This is a one-to-one recreation of it, just with pine trees and all that stuff. And then when Eblem was making that Saltillo area, he copy and pasted this one, removed some of the curbs because that the normal map is scaled 1 to 20, and just changed the ambiance, and of course removed all the Esterlon specific signage. I mean, Mexican signs don't look like those big green signs, right? Approaching here the city of Malpaso, or Malpaso, I guess, featuring a left exit, which is not ideal from a road design point of view. But, oh well, should we go that way? Let's show it off. Why not? This next section of freeway is pretty simple, so let's show off the town. I'm not taking this this cargo to Malpaso. I'm taking it to the capital of this province, as we call it, named Zacatl. Zacatl is based on the Mexican city of Zacatecas, but I tried to find a way to change the name a little bit. And ultimately, I was like, you know what? Let's say that there was some towns that used that TTL. Oh, that's a big jump. TTL suffix. That happens in real life too, whether it be for like some old language or whatever, And Zacatl kind of stuck there, and there's other names around the map that you might find that use something similar. All right. This city of Malpaso is not based on anything real. That SUV is a little too far out to the road. This little hill was made just to help with render distance. Funny little map design stuff, because this straightaway is pretty long. And there's only so much you could render at a distance in this game. And we made it. It's a pretty little downtown. You know what? It looks very pretty, but I'll be honest, I know not a lot of effort was put into it at some point. A lot of it was kind of pre-built. That's kind of the point. The map is so, like, one-to-one maps require so much effort because there's just so much terrain to cover that it's kind of have to cheat a little bit in order to be able to cover more distance. You could just put less detail into it, but then it doesn't look that good, right? Shout out to the Oxxo. Oxxos are a Mexican convenience store chain. Better than 7-Eleven, in my opinion. But anyway. That's it. Yeah, this town was honestly not that detailed. There are some very, very detailed towns. There are some that are not. Zacatl, where we're going, is pretty well detailed, but only the western part was done. We're missing the downtown part and the eastern section, which is actually supposed to be a different town altogether. Well, a different city. It's like a metro area. It's supposed to be a pretty big city. About 500,000 people, I think, is the concept for it. Another thing that you could probably notice from this map, if you studied a little bit and look at the locations and what the overview map looks like, is that there are some spots where you can kind of tell that there's an old road and there's a new road. The freeways, or expressways as we call them in this map, are all meant to be newer roads, as they are in real life. They ended up bypassing towns or older roads. This technically should be like the original road, and you'll kind of notice over here. We tried to pull something off. Let's see if it's as good as I think it is. Sometimes I think things we do are great, and then when I start looking at them, I'm like, they're not that good. Oh, come on. You know what? We're gonna get on the sidewalk a bit. We got a video to shoot. All right. 60 kilometers per hour. It's about 35 miles. There we go. 90 kilometers. So this was meant to be like the original highway. They must have, thinking of, development pattern, they must have widened this highway at one point when it was necessary. But then they were like, nah, well, let's make a proper bypass. That's also why there's probably no shoulder here, right? Well, not probably. That is why. That was the thought. So there is, when you're making fantasy maps, you have to put some thought into that kind of stuff, right? It pays off to think of its history. We didn't put too much thought. I could say this right now. For example, the other big fantasy map out there for these games is the what is it called? Grand Utopia for ETS2, and I think my godness, the person who makes those, puts a lot more effort into telling a story and being putting details into even like political stuff. I think in this world. We tried to, but ultimately we just tried to put more effort into just expanding the map and making it bigger, which I think we did succeed at that. Only downside is, and I know a lot of people have complained about it, is that for the most part it's just a long freeway corridor. I think maybe I should show it off too. I don't think I did in this video. Here, let's show it off. So yeah, you could tell it's pretty much just a long freeway corridor. So that's a downside. But if you like freeway driving, which I do personally, I personally feel this map is rather therapeutic, personally, because you could drive for like 2 hours non-stop. And it's like, even though the base ATS map is bigger, because this one was made one-to-one, all the highway, the designs, the interchanges are made to be, as correct as they should be size-wise. So it feels more like an actual place you would be driving in real life. This interchange is screwy. Oops. Again, it's this came after they built the freeway. That was the whole point. And we go left. Back onto, it's called E36 or Expressway 36. Our equivalent of the Interstate Highway or A routes in Europe are E routes or Expressway. They all have that red shield right there, which honestly I did kind of copy. I mixed the Japanese national route symbol and the New Zealand motorway shield and came up with that. I'm not very original, apparently. Now, Esterlon, the country that this map takes place in, is supposedly an island country, akin to maybe Japan, New Zealand, except its main mass is pretty long and decently wide, like wider than Japan or New Zealand, and very mountainous, similar to New Zealand and Japan, I guess. It is supposed to be about... You know what? Let's talk about that a little later. This interchange is really cool. So we're going towards the cattle. The map does not continue out to the other... towards the right, which would be south. That follows expressway... Is it 15? I think it is. But check this out. I love how big the fields, like the valley, looks out there. There is a little bit of render distance trickery going on to give the illusion that it's big, but hey, it looks great. And then E36 is not the main freeway. The main freeway is actually E15, which we're merging onto right now. So traffic coming from Wasper and somewhere else out there merges onto this expressway that comes in from Ambersol, which is the capital of Esterlon. And thus we have this gigantic highway, this gigantic expressway, freeway, whatever you want to call it. I like that little detail. Zakatl Western Bypass, currently being built. Zakatl, 14 kilometers. We're not too far off. Now, as a trucker, I really shouldn't be farther left, but it's a game. Let me be. And this little detail with how you can see that interchange is impressive. Hats off. Eblem is the main map designer. It's not, like I said, I really mostly just did detail work on the roads. I'll have to reduce my speed limit. There we go. And the way this was done just looks awesome. Another interesting tidbit here is something that we realized a little bit later in our development is that apparently the roads in this game and in ETS2 are scaled... You know what? I don't want to go that fast. Are scaled up. So the lanes are wider than they should be. For reference, I know this in meters, and the game itself, the roads are designed with meters in mind. Normal lanes should be, at least in the US, they're about 3.66 meters wide. In Europe, they tend to be anywhere from 3.5 to 3.6 meters wide. And the lanes in this game are 4.5 meters wide. Here, in order to give a better illusion of, you know, this construction work, I actually did some trickery to get them a little narrower. And they were 4 meters back there where the construction was going on. And they still feel normal. I've heard that apparently if you're playing this game with the controller or worse with the keyboard, real life with lanes would probably be a little bit too difficult. So I guess they probably designed the game that way on purpose. Oh, you see that white sign on the right side? That means end restrictions. And the max speed limit on expressways in this country is 130 kilometers or 80 miles an hour. So off we go. Uh-oh, there we go. Next exit, 800 meters. That route shield is the national route shield, which I guess the equivalent would be kind of like US routes. Let's take this guy. I like this little section here. So those national routes were the ones that came before the expressways. But not all national routes were replaced by expressways, of course, just like they wasn't the case in the US either. There's a big canyon here. Can't really see it very well, but maybe I'll show it off later. And here we approach our climb. Zacatl is a high elevation city. I believe the in-game, it's meant to be close to 2,000 meters high. Real life, Zacatecas is about 2,000 something. So that's kind of the point. So we're climbing here. I was talking about Esterlon as a country earlier. Esterlon, the main island, which is, you know, the majority of the landmass, is meant to be about, if I remember correctly, about 1,000 kilometers, which is like 600 something miles long, by like 400 to 500 kilometers wide, I think. Some roughly that size. There are more islands around in our head. We actually do have a map somewhere. We haven't really shared it. Maybe someday. But it's meant to provide because it's very mountainous. There are supposed to be multiple types of landscapes throughout the whole island. The southern section is more tropical-ish. The northern section has more forests, there's a word, I can't remember the word for the weather. And then there are two main mountain chains that are very tall and thus block a lot of the humidity from the ocean. So in the center, you have a big, long desert valley, which is supposed to be to the right of us, maybe some 100 kilometers or 150 to the east. We're headed north right now. Alright, we're now in the suburbs of Zacatl. This is called Ciénegas. This little section was supposed to look like a California-style freeway. This guy's going too slow, and there's someone on my left. There's the provincial route shields. The province is called Prador. I don't remember why we called it that. There was a reason. I hope y'all are liking the. I mean, if you haven't played this map, hope y'all are liking what it looks like. There we go. Ciénegas is over. Welcome to Zacatl. Those city signs are meant to be like the European kind, so it doesn't say like "welcome to" or "city" or anything. It's just the name of the city, and that's it. All right, so the right lane exits. So we're taking lane number 2 here. I'm actually not sure where we're supposed to drop this off. I have to pay attention to the UI map. Let me do this. There we go. Ooh. Nah, I like the other one better. That's fine. I like this section. This is actually based on a real life part in Zacatecas. Zacatl welcomes you. So this is the main interchange here in the western part of the city. I don't know if it would be the biggest interchange in the map. There's one that's also very big but more spread out. So I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to exit. I think I'm supposed to go follow Zacatl Center. Centerville, Centertown, whatever, which is taking N66 or National Route 66. If we were to continue going north, we'd take 15 north towards Huntington. But no, I'm seeing the map now. No, we're good. I don't know why the traffic on the middle lane is going so slow. That truck should not be there. There's a 70-kilometer curve here. I know the right lane here finishes in shortly, so I'm moving to the middle. Let's see, is that a 70-kilometer? Well, I'm taking it at 80-ish. Yeah, I don't know if I would call it 70. Maybe I could change the sign to say 80. It's just a suggestion, though. These guys are going a bit slow. Well, having to slow down on a freeway as you enter the city makes you feel like there's traffic, but I don't see traffic around me, unfortunately. Oh, well. Trucks, last exit 191. Ooh, that's not right anymore. That's an old sign. I know why that says that. So this freeway goes through the historic downtown, and there's a section that we haven't really made, but it's supposed to be inaccessible to trucks. There's a bypass. Let's see, gotta get off here. Exit 88, Mazapil Mine. Ooh, that stop should not be there. Alright, welcome to Western Zacatl. Downtown will continue out that way to our left, which is east. Currently heading south. Will there be more development on this map? Honestly, I can't say right now. Development has been focused a lot more on the base map for the Reforma base map in Mexico and other parts. Just there's a lot more demand for that. People want that more. So it is a little unfortunate if you do really like this map. I can't really promise more. And I certainly don't have a lot of the patience that goes into making a lot of like the landscape stuff. I like detailing, but not so much the landscape stuff. I keep telling myself to learn and to actually do it. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, this is going to be a little tight with this camera. No, that's easier than I thought. And that's it. So for this video, I'm going to end it here. Let's do this a little bit. Show it off a little bit. I'm going to end the video here. There will be more, of course. I'll keep showing off different parts of the map. But I hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit of a deep dive into Esterlon itself. And thank you for watching.